back to Hi guys, it's your boy BDR and I'm back with another AQW overview video. Now, today's overview is going to be about Sovereign of Storms. Now, Sovereign of Storms was a class that released last summer. They introduced the concept of scaled classes, which is basically just an evolved version of a previous class. Like, Sovereign of Storms is basically the evolved version of Darkblood Storm King. Basically, they said they're not going to do it for every class, but hopefully this year we see some scaled classes and whatnot. Alright then. Now, the only way to obtain it is by, going to the merge shop and merging it right here. You're gonna need, Queen Iona's Royal Attire, which you do have to fight the World Challenge boss over there in the Cold Thunder storyline. The Sky Wardens of East, West, and South. You have to merge their armors. Storm King's Thunderbolt. I believe that's like you have to be rank 10 in the Thunderforge faction. Yeah, you have to be rank 10 in Thunderforge in order to get it. And the Lithonian's Lightning. Now, 2000 rep for Sky, plus you get the, Lithonian's Lightning, Eye of the Storm. You do need the Bank Companion, which will give you, like, another Lithonian's Lightning. But you do need the Iona Bank Companion, which is available for 2 KACs if you want to, like, accelerate the process. Now we got that out of the way, let's talk about the skills. So it's auto attack, basic auto attack just has a skill icon. We have Storm Surge, 1.5 second cooldown, infinite range, one target. Striking a Thunderstricken target grants you a stack of Superconductive for 10 seconds, stacking all the way to 10 and increasing the damage of Sky Splitter. Striking a shock target will heal you, reducing over your maximum HP lingers, reducing damage you take from the next hit or until you heal. Rank 2 skill, Fulminate. 10 mana, 6 second cooldown, magical, infinite range, 3 targets. Deals moderate damage to one target and light damage to additional targets. Applies shock to all targets hit, reducing their outgoing damage by 25% for 10 seconds. Replaces Thunderstricken. Thunder Chicken. Alright, then we have your rank 3 skill, Rolling Thunder, 10 mana, 6 second cooldown, magical, infinite range, 3 targets. Deals moderate damage to one target and light damage to 2 additional targets. Applies Thunderstricken to all targets hit, reducing their magical resistance by 25% for 10 seconds. Replace shock. Your rank 4 passives, Gale Force, haste increased by 10%, and Electrified, outgoing magical damage increased by 10%, and damage resistance also increased by 20%. Your rank 5 skill, Sky Splitter, 80 mana, 10 second cooldown, infinite range, one target. Smite your foe with a bolt of supercharged lightning, dealing increased damage for each superconductive stack that you have, replacing it with Supercell, increasing your outgoing damage by 5% for each superconductive stack you had at the time of application, lasts 20 seconds. If your target was shocked, they become electrocuted, reducing their hit chance and crit chance by 25% for 20 seconds. And finally, for our rank 10 passive, Eye of the Storm, starting from rank 1, your bloodline causes you absolute control of the storm, causing your skills to always crit and never miss. At rank 10, increases your crit damage by 100%. So we can gather here from this class, it's like, this class just comes with basically guaranteed crits. You do have to stack your superconductive. It's basically you have to stack your superconductive, and then when you have enough, you hit your Sky Splitter for your nuke. Alright then, let's move on to combos and enhancements. Alright, so here's the build that we're going to rock with Sovereign of Storms. Ravenous, we are going to be nuking, so Ravenous, increase that DPS. Wizard, offensive caster, so we're just going to slap on Wizard. Vainglory for extra damage because, our healing will be just fine under it, and Pneuma for, intellect. Alright then, yeah, that's true. That's it. That's it right there. Now then, for your combo, what you want to do here is spam 4 and 2 until you have 10 stacks of superconductive, and then press your 5 and use 3 and 2 when you need to heal. Now this class is, I gotta lie, Sovereign of Storms, it's a good class. It's just that, it can run into, problems. Then we see that 48, you saw that 40k right there. That was pretty nice. Now we just activate shock to get our heals. And it's just that, this class does need some ramping up. to really do in order to like hit that superconductive on, and plus this class has pretty bad defenses, as you saw right there. You know, it does have a good heal, but its defenses are kind of like, are pretty questionable per se. Hit superconductive. Here we go, a 60k nuke right there, and bam, that's pretty much it. Now, a minute 9, 671, pretty good stats. You know, pretty much up there with like the likes of like I would say, you know, Chaos Avenger, like slightly below Chaos Avenger and Void Hylord. It's a pretty good option for soloing if you don't have either, Chaos Avenger or Void Hylord. All right then. So in terms of soloing, this class is a good soloer, but it's kind of like its defenses are pretty bad, per se. Now then, still a good option for soloing. All right then, let's move on to farming. All right, so here's the build, the exact same. We're gonna use Elysium because Elysium triggers more magical damage plus a heal over time, which could really help it out. So yeah, for your combo, what you want to do here is basically 3, 2, and then 5, and then just spam 3, 2, and 4. Now with this class, this class, while it can be an effective farmer, it's just that you don't want to put it in like harsh scenarios where like it can't really hang. And while it is, good, I'll say it's a good farmer, but it's just like its defenses though are kind of like, kind of like the main thing from it. It's like it could hit, it could hit for damage, but it's just like, its defenses are really holding it back from really being like a truly effective farmer like Legion Revenant, Dragon of Time, etc. So it's kind of like, okay, 18 kills ain't half bad. In terms of farming, it could be a decent farmer at times. Just you have to make sure that you keep it away from like truly hard hitting, farming mobs. All right then, let's move on to survivability. All right, guys. So in terms of survivability, yeah, this class really doesn't have that much survivability to really go for it. While it could shock, it has the debuffs and whatnot. That's not it. Its defenses are pretty bad. As you can see, we're just like struggling. We were just struggling with the Fear Muncher. Its defenses really make it kind of like if it were to fight a hard enough boss, it can get one shot, two shot. I mean, while it is a good soloer and a solid farmer, its defenses are kind of like its main crutch, which can leave it open for one shot, two shot. All right, then. Let's move on to support and then final. In terms of support, Sovereign of Storms can, provide some support. You have Fulminate, which can reduce the outgoing target's damage by 25% for 10 seconds. You have Roaring Thunder, which can reduce their magical resistance by 25%. And then you have the big bad nuke, Sky Splitter, which can apply Electrocutor, reducing their hit and crit chance by 25% for 20 seconds. So it has some value in support, but you're rarely gonna see it in like group fights and whatnot, as there are like better DPS classes to use. It is a solid option though. Alright then. The pros about Sovereign of Storms is that, it's a good, DPS soloer. It's it's easy to use. The farm for it's not that bad. And it could be a doable farmer, in some situations. Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much all that I have for pros. Now then, the cons about Sovereign of Storms is that, its defenses are pretty bad. For the most part, Sky Splitter is 80 mana, which is I think is a bit steep even for something like that. But not, you know, I would say it definitely needs Forge enhancements to truly go off and whatnot. And you're really only using this class if you don't have, Chaos Avenger or Void High Lord or any top tier, really any top tier, you know, soloing class. That's pretty much all that I have for cons. Alright then, my final verdict about Sovereign of Storms is that, it is a good DPS nuking class, which has, good animations, and not gonna lie, it's kind of fun to use in terms of soloing. I only recommend getting this class if you don't have Chaos Avenger or Void High Lord, or if you're just looking for something new. Alright then, that's pretty much been it for the Sovereign of Storms overview. Make sure to like, share, subscribe for more Hi Guys content, and also how you guys feel about, like for anyone that does have Sovereign of Storms, how you guys feel about the class? Do you think this class needs like a buff? Whatnot? What do you think they should have done with the class? I want to hear it in the comment section. No. Alright then, like, share, subscribe. Hi guys, out.